blessings to those that will be blessed through this. And God, just pour out your Spirit in a mighty and powerful way, Lord. Let your Spirit flow in Jesus' mighty name. And holy is your name, Lord. Alrighty, before I get into... I'm going to share some stuff with you. Do you have faith to move the earth? Is a question I'm asking. Back about a week ago on February the 8th, and that was 2021, had a dream where there's these few people. I think there's about two of them. This one guy, he had seen in like their eyes turned and like turned to a red color, and it was like in their eyes it read lies. And he's like, oh no, I don't want that to happen to me. And as he is coming to me, his eyes basically turned that same way. And I'm like, okay, Lord, that's bad. And I'm just thinking that. And in this dream, they had the power to change time. And so I was kind of contemplating that when I was waking up from it and all that stuff. And it's like, basically the idea is they are able to change time, but they're trying to change time according to their will and the way they think it should play out. And so as I was waking up from that dream, I was basically playing part of the Lord's Prayer. I didn't pray it all, but it's basically in Matthew 6:10. I was just praying with a really good earnest, because it was like shown to me as like, yeah, if you kind of follow that path, you'll eventually have the same thing happen to you in the current timeline. It's like, oh, okay, that's bad. And I just prayed, Lord, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I was just praying that very earnestly, because I can't think of any other timeline that's a good timeline, except for that God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I think that is the best timeline that we can get. Alright? So, I basically fallen back to sleep, or I don't know what it was, but it was as if I was in space itself, and I was literally felt like I was starting to move the earth itself, and I felt like it may have been Jesus grabbing my other hand, my left hand, and with my right hand, I was like moving the earth itself into a new timeline. And I felt like this was basically the earth being shifted into God's will being done on earth. Something to note was when I was moving the earth from one timeline to the next, it was black space, and then when I moved it to a new timeline, it was blue. And then I had a series of other dreams where, what was it? We're trying to get something to be corrected. We're trying to change the timeline. Me and these other couple of people, like they had 3 items, and we're all trying to put them together. And as we did, we're trying to do so, there's some zombies in the room, and they hadn't been awakened yet, but as we kept on trying to fix the timeline, there was less and less zombies. But as these zombies came about, it was like as the time was being fixed more and more, they started awakening even more and more, quicker and quicker. And at one point, it's like, we don't have it ready yet, so I had to basically let the zombies chase me out of the room as they awoken. And it was like quicker than the last time frame in which we were trying to fix. And so we had gotten everything together, like these marbles or whatever, they're like connected to each other. I don't understand it how, but they were. So then it's like, we got all 3 of them together, but then there was a 4th one we needed, and it's like I had totally forgotten about it. And then John's outside, and he has the 4th one. And, 4 can symbolize corners or establishing something. Just a thought that just occurred to me. And in that process, there's zombies outside. Those same 3 zombies are outside, but at the same time, they're not attacking him. It's like, how did I even forget you? And he was telling me, it's like, it wasn't necessary for you to remember me. And it's like, we basically fixed the timeline with whatever he had. I remember there's that word that came to me, is like innocence. It was part of what it was, I don't remember, but it was innocence. Was probably one of those key things, I guess. And I remember talking to him, and it's like, basically we're kind of saying our goodbyes because the timeline is going to be changed. And I was basically like, kind of like misty eyes, like, I'm only going to know you in my dreams until we get to heaven, and then God's just going to have to reveal everything to us, you know? And he was like, yeah. And then it was like a whole bunch of people, and I just felt like we were celebrating kind of deal. And then I went up to this one woman, and what her name was, I believe it was Norma. Now, I can't remember quite right off the bat. I was thinking Noel maybe, but that didn't feel quite right. Felt like Norma was. And Norma, just to let you know, it means precepts. And from what I was getting, that was the precepts of God. And she was like, telling me, it's like, when you're in church and you see me, don't forget to give me a hug, kind of deal. Like, okay, all right. And then as I was hugging her, she was saying, like, kiss, kiss. So I started kissing her on the cheek, and then I started kissing her on the lips. It's like, hey, this is kind of nice. So I started kissing her again as we're hugging, and that's kind of where the dream ended. Now, take in mind that precepts is kind of where I was kind of feeling like that was what it was, kind of representing that maybe. But in Psalms 119, 15 through 16, I will meditate in thy precepts, and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes, and sometimes statutes can be very similar to precepts. So I will delight myself in thy precepts. I will not forget thy word. All right. So basically, having an understanding or appreciating God's word and delighting in God's word. And I believe that was kind of what that part was kind of really kind of focusing on me. And Mark 11, chapter 11, verses 23. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast in the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, and he shall have whatsoever he saith. All right, so we have faith to move a mountain. How about faith to move the earth? That's a good question. And something else that was actually said in the dream, John mentioned this, that was in the dream, that had the innocence. He said the alterations of the timeline should be complete around July. I'm thinking this year, but that's what he was saying, that they should be, I think he may have been saying June or July, or sometime around July, possibly. So I'm just kind of putting that out there. So I think there's a lot of things that God's kind of reshuffling around to basically put the earth into his will. That his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And God's got to shake some things up and got to move some stuff around if his will is going to be done on earth as it is in heaven. All right? So God bless you. And pray about that. Pray for that. Pray that God's will be done on earth. I don't think a lot of Christians actually pray that prayer. I mean, they pray it when they're praying the Lord's Prayer, but just pray that specifically. All right, just food for thought. God bless you all. Bye.